Hi, and welcome to the 10 Tampa Bay News Week in Review, your essential weekly news roundup. I'm Dave Wagner. Over the next 30 minutes, we're bringing you important and in-depth stories from across Tampa Bay. The stories you won't find anywhere else.
Yeah, we got two that are racing on the highway now.
Questions and criminal charges this week after a high-speed chase ended in a tragedy early Saturday morning. This is video of troopers chasing Silas Sampson in the air and on the road. Minutes later, he lost control, slamming into a crowd outside Bradley's, a popular bar in Ybor City. Now, the crash killed 4 people and injured another 13. And now Sampson faces 14 criminal charges as he sits in the Hillsborough County Jail. Taking you through the timeline, a Tampa police helicopter first reports racing on I-275 near Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard at 12:40 Saturday morning. An FHP trooper starts a pursuit that takes them to 7th Avenue, heading into Ybor City, where the trooper tries to perform a pit maneuver on the suspect at 12:45. Video shows that 10 seconds later, the trooper calls off the pursuit as the car passes under the historic arch. According to video timestamps, about 30 seconds after that, the driver crashes into the crowd on the corner of 7th Avenue and 15th Street. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Ash Patel breaks down the charges Sampson faces.
Dozens of lives change forever. Prosecutors say they're going to pursue the fullest extent of the law to hold the person responsible.
The first case that I have today is page 83, Silas Sampson.
Silas Sampson made his first court appearance on Sunday, facing 8 charges.
1, 2, 3, 4 counts of that, which is a first-degree felony. You are also charged with vehicular homicide and leaving the scene. 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of that.
Now, just days later, he returned to the courtroom facing additional charges. He entered wearing a green safety vest and shackles.
All right, Mr. Sampson, these are add-on charges. You are charged with 3 counts of fleeing to elude high speed with serious bodily injury or death, and 3 counts of reckless driving with serious bodily injury.
Florida Highway Patrol filed a new criminal report affidavit, expanding on the original charges. According to a motion from the state attorney's office, 4 people were killed and more than a dozen others injured in the crash. Investigators say Sampson tried to flee the scene. Officers reported he smelled of alcohol, had slurred speech, and refused a blood test, leading to a search warrant and a blood sample collection, which is still pending analysis. Documents also revealed that while in custody, Sampson made spontaneous statements admitting he made a mistake. When asked how many people he killed, he reportedly said, "Just get me to jail," and then he would, quote, "go and sit for a few months." Sampson will be back in court tomorrow morning for pre-trial detention, where both cases will be discussed. In Tampa, Asha Patel, 10 Tampa Bay News.
And 10 Investigates Emerald Morrow has been tracking pursuit policies across the area and shows us the differences between TPD and FHP.
Huge difference. While FHP just changed its policy within the last couple of years to give troopers more flexibility in triggering pursuits, TPD actually went the opposite direction.
We got 2 that are racing on the highway now.
TPD says it did not pursue 22-year-old Silas Sampson before investigators say he plowed into the Ybor City crowd. We did some digging and found their policy only allows pursuits for forcible felonies and certain burglaries. Even then, officers must get permission to continue.
100 miles an hour.
This change came in 2022 after a TPD pursuit ended in a deadly crash that killed a 44-year-old woman. This year, the city approved a $200,000 settlement with her family.
It's always in the mind of the agencies, what could we have done differently, even given that this was solely and ultimately the responsibility of the suspect.
10 Investigates requested pursuit policies for FHP and agencies across our area and found broad inconsistencies. Some, like Bradenton, prohibit pursuits unless necessary to catch a violent felon. FHP's policy goes the other way, no longer requiring suspicion of a felony DUI or reckless driving.
You're pursuing somebody for what we have at this point to know was a traffic violation. So whether that traffic violation was a racing charge or a speeding charge, it wasn't an act of violence. It wasn't a forcible felony.
State officials said in a statement, troopers and FHP will give no quarter to those who terrorize roadways and communities, and that troopers will continue to put themselves at risk to protect others. Emerald Morrow, 10 Investigates.
Continuing our coverage now, 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Annie Kroll shows us the city's plan for future safety measures.
City leaders were meeting on Monday morning to try and find solutions after the horrific tragedy that happened this weekend. We know that it was 4 people who were killed and 13 others were injured after a car came crashing through a crowd on 7th Avenue. That was right at Bradley's, where it finally made its stop and took so many people's lives. Now, the city leaders who met today said that everything is on the table. One of the many things we've been hearing from people who live in Ybor City is the potential to close down 7th Avenue. We heard from Mayor Jane Castor. As of right now, they think it's actually safer to keep 7th Avenue open because it keeps people from congregating in that pedestrian-only area. And we also heard from the new Councilwoman Naya Young, who has been in office for less than 2 weeks, and says that this is heartbreaking and they don't want to put a Band-Aid on what probably needs some kind of long-term solution. So, of course, more to hear from the city leaders of what comes next in Ybor City.
At least 2 people injured in the deadly Ybor City crash are still in the hospital. It's not clear when or if they will make a full recovery, and that includes 2 best friends who were both outside a bar when the car crashed into them. On Wednesday, 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Chris Hurst spoke to the father of one of those friends.
He's a great kid. He graduated from USF.
At 25, Connor Dietrich is in the prime of his life.
He loves living in Tampa, so he stayed in Tampa.
But after suffering severe injuries in the Ybor City crash,
he's got several skull fractures on the left side of his head. He's got a broken shoulder, clavicle, and scapular, a lacerated spleen.
His dad doesn't know what his future holds now.
We're still waiting on results from some MRIs to determine the level of injury that might have happened to the brain. We just don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have my son back.
He was with his brother Brandon and friend Riley Hancock at a table outside Bradley's bar when all 3 were hit. Brandon, the only one to escape serious injury.
Finds Connor laying in a puddle of blood. He finds what he didn't realize was Riley at first, but he saw somebody with a severe laceration on their forehead and then realized that's Riley, and he just kind of jumped into action.
A response Brandon's dad says was honed when the brothers both were in class during the 2018 mass shooting in Parkland.
He's never opened up to us about that, and I was afraid we're going to have the same kind of an issue with this. But surprisingly, you can see it in his eyes. He's struggling, but he's talking, that's the most important thing he can do.
As for what led up to the crash,
I haven't really been focused on that.
Instead, this former police captain and his family are focused on the future.
Getting Connor out of that hospital and back into a normal life. That's where my wife and I are focused, and that's where we're putting all of our energy into.
And that was Chris Hurst reporting there. 10 Tampa Bay News will continue to bring you the very latest developments in this tragic case on air and online and through our mobile app. Federal workers returned to their jobs on Thursday after the 43-day shutdown ended. It was the longest in U.S. history. President Trump signed a bill to end the shutdown just a couple of hours after the House passed it on Wednesday. One of the key issues during the shutdown, unpaid air traffic controllers. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Andy Payton shows you why the end of the shutdown didn't automatically fix that problem.
The bill is passed. The motion is adopted.
Tonight, the government is open, but the sky's still awaiting a return to normalcy.
Trying to get to Long Island, but I don't know how that's going to work. We've been delayed probably, 4 times already? Yes.
With airports across the country like TPA still feeling the impacts of the FAA's flight reductions today, seeing close to 60 flights delayed or canceled. However, some encouraging signs.
I'm extremely happy to know that more people can come back, get to work, keep everything rolling smoothly.
With the FAA announcing yesterday that they'd be freezing reductions at 6% instead of raising those cancellations nationwide to 8% today and 10% Friday as originally planned. The administration also reporting air traffic controller shortages at just 2 facilities tonight, down from a high of 81 on Saturday.
Do you feel safer as a traveler knowing that they're being paid?
Yeah. For sure. No one's going to do as good of a job if they're not getting compensated for the work they put in for it.
I think we'll be back a lot faster than people think.
Delta, TPA's longest-serving airline, optimistic about a return to normalcy, with its CEO telling CBS News exclusively this morning he believes it's just days away.
And I expect by the weekend we're pretty much going to be full steam ahead. Thanksgiving is going to be a great holiday period to travel.
Andy Payton reporting there. On Friday, the FAA announced plans to ease up on flight limitations put in place during the shutdown at TPA and several other airports. Continuing our team coverage of the local impact of the shutdown, the tens of millions of Americans who rely on federal food assistance should see their full SNAP benefits soon. On Tuesday, 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Ash Patel showed you how local organizations are making sure they can help feed families in need now and through the holidays.
The need for help has reached a level that, frankly, we've never seen before.
Food pantries across Tampa Bay are keeping up with a lot these days, serving families already running low as SNAP benefits shrink.
Remember, we already look after 1 million people every year. That's another 500,000 into our care.
On top of that, the holidays are here.
For the first time in our history, our Tampa Thanksgiving tent has reached its capacity.
Feeding Tampa Bay and Metropolitan Ministries, both organizations that feed thousands year-round, say demand is exploding.
Our metro markets saw a remarkable 296% increase.
But even with the need growing, they're pushing forward.
What we want to make sure that we do is provide as much relief to a family's budget as we can, so whether that is food or whether it's other resources.
Incredibly, they're keeping shelves stocked and donations moving in. As for SNAP, DCF says any benefits already on your card are still active. To avoid delays while funding returns, keep up with all required work activities. And if you've already applied or renewed, do not reapply. That will only slow things down. With the holiday season just around the corner, a lot of food pantries across the Tampa Bay area are really looking for things to help families during this time, like frozen turkeys, sides for a Thanksgiving dinner, gift cards, and gifts for children ages 4 to 17. In Tampa, Asha Patel, 10 Tampa Bay News.
And if you would like to volunteer or donate, you can visit our 10 Tampa Bay website to find out how. On Wednesday, dozens of families in South St. Petersburg learned they may get to stay in their apartments. Just a few hours earlier, they learned St. Pete fire inspectors wanted them out because several buildings at the Morgan apartment complex are considered unsafe. It's the second time this year those same residents have faced possible displacement through no fault of their own. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Eric Glasser shows you what's happening there and what both the city and property owner are saying now.
Well, they've already seen more than their share of stress after almost losing their water service earlier this year. Now, several tenants here at the Morgan Apartments in South St. Petersburg are being told that they could be forced out again, this time over fire alarm issues.
I was mad last night when I found out.
Frustration again at the Morgan Apartments. Fire inspectors say about 30 units have been deemed unsafe after failing multiple fire safety inspections over the past several months.
What the hell was the point of having fire marshals come and make sure our detectors worked if it turns out the system itself is not functioning anyways?
The city says the complex hired a fire watch company to literally watch the buildings, making sure that nothing goes up in flames while the fire systems are supposed to be fixed. But the watch company recently pulled out after not being paid by the property's owner, Lurin Real Estate Holdings.
To hear, that we may possibly be getting evicted, it's nerve-wracking.
In a statement, a spokesman for Lauren said that payments to the Fire Watch Company were now up to date, and they had asked the fire marshal to lift the vacate order. By midday, Fire Watch workers were back on the property, but some say they're moving out anyway.
It's just too much.
In response, the city says residents no longer have to vacate by Sunday, but there is a catch. Lurin must apply for and receive a permit to repair the fire alarm system within 30 days and maintain the fire watch uninterrupted. If they don't, the vacate order will be reinstated.
I'm glad we're going to get to stay, but we might not feel safe in these buildings.
Meanwhile, the city is still trying to collect on about $400,000 in unpaid water bills from the same management company, a dispute that nearly led to service shutoffs here at the Morgan earlier this year. The company says litigation involving those bills is moving toward a resolution. In St. Petersburg, Eric Lasser, 10 Tampa Bay News.
Now to a shocking moment in a Sarasota courtroom after a jury found a man guilty of murdering his adopted parents on Friday. Dima Tower admitted to stabbing to death Robbie and Jennifer Tower in 2023, just a few years after they adopted him from Ukraine. He says he was, quote, temporarily insane. 10 Tampa Bay and news anchor Frank Wiley shows you how Tower directed his anger at their family and the judge on Friday.
You seem to be an evil,
spirit, an evil person.
Evil spirit because you're talking foolish.
Who doesn't seem to have any.
Stuff on it.
Okay,
I'm seeing stuff on it.
I'm not showing it.
It took the jury just under 2 hours to reach a verdict.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree as charged.
And they wasted no time heading into the penalty phase minutes later. Friends and family members gave impact statements, some addressing Dima for the first time.
At the beginning of this trial, we were told and we heard that the defendant say that this was all an act of rage. By saying so, he may feel that this helps to alleviate his responsibility in some way, but it doesn't.
You were a nobody from nowhere, but two amazing people from somewhere came to save you. What you did by repaying them, by cowardly killing them because you don't like rules, authority, or you can't handle consequences.
During the trial, Dima repeatedly pointed to his harsh childhood in Ukraine and blamed Robbie and Jennifer for not raising him right. The judge gave Dima a chance to apologize, but then quickly removed him from the stand after he put the blame on Robbie and Jennifer's parents.
What I have to say is our feelings block out our intellect, so I must ignore the irrational testimonies I heard. My apology in this is that nobody want to be held accountable for their actions. And I'm being held accountable for the actions of grown men. And how can I apologize for the mistreatment that Oscar, as a stepfather.
All right, I'm going to have the defendant removed from the stand. He's choosing not to give an apology.
And that was Frank Wiley reporting the judge immediately apologized to the family and ultimately sentenced Tower to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On Thursday, people who live in a mobile home park in Lakeland got an up-close look at what the city hopes will be a solution to continuous flooding. Lake Bonnet is the problem. Decades of muck needs to be dredged out and new pumps installed to keep its drainage basin and canal from flooding mobile homes along the banks. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Chris Hurst shows us how it will work.
We have flooding even if it's just regular rain.
As long as Karen Tevis has lived at May Manor Mobile Home Park, there's been flooding.
So when we have extreme rain, hurricanes, it really affects us a lot.
Last year, dozens were flooded out and many left for good.
It's going to take a few years, but at least we're getting there.
Tonight, signs of hope for this community.
The city of Lakeland encourages the public to participate in this public information meeting.
Seeing what the city is finally able to do about it.
We're going to focus our efforts on alleviating the flood mitigation in the drainage basin first, and then working on the lake dredging as the second part of the project.
Construction begins in the new year, restoring wetlands, dredging feet of silt and sediment, and modernizing culverts, pumps, and weirs.
Our next steps will be going out to bid to find a contractor that's actually going to bring the heavy equipment out there and start with the work. And we're hoping to go out to bid right after the holidays.
I'm impressed. I'm hoping that it'll move quickly and be a better situation than what we've had previously.
The $43 million project is paid for with federal money and will take a few years to complete, but park residents hope solving this will make it livable for everyone.
But once this is done, we can get new people, trailers in, new people in, and make our park like it used to be at one time, beautiful and full.
The city estimates more than 200,000 cubic yards of mud and muck will be removed once the project is complete. Right now, repairs to Tropicana Field's dome are in the final stages. It comes as the Tampa Bay Rays confirm they'll be playing there during the upcoming regular season. You can see crews working to install what appears to be the final panel. Repairs are costing the city nearly $60 million. As 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Miguel Octavio shows us, the mayor says he's open to keeping the team there longer than agreed upon.
I hope they're able to stay here as long as possible.
One final piece of the puzzle. But the bigger picture of where the Rays call home is far from complete.
Really hope they stay in the area.
I believe we have everything they want right here.
For Ferg's bar owner Mark Ferguson, that answer is here.
We are a major league city because of the Tampa Bay Rays, and we depend on them in the summer when it's slower.
He says business was down 30% alone during the season without the Rays here. Their promise to return for the 2026 season and progress at the Trop welcome news.
It looked really bad. I'd say it makes me feel pretty good that they're getting things done.
While Mayor Ken Welch appears open to extending the city's agreement with the Rays, its new CEO remains tight-lipped about the future.
We're doing feasibility analysis on a lot of sites throughout the region, and right now we're focused on getting ready for opening day.
For Council Member Richie Floyd, though, the future of the area isn't a game for the city's residents.
I'll entertain whatever gets put in front of me, but this has to be an agreement that is beneficial for the city. No more development rights for the baseball team. No more large subsidies for playing games in the city anymore. We need something that's beneficial to St. Petersburg and doesn't impact our ability to redevelop the site.
In the meantime, some say they're already planning to be at the Trop for the next season.
I really do hope that they stay in St. Petersburg because I think that is a really big draw.
And that was Miguel Octavio reporting on Wednesday. The new CEO of the Tampa Bay Rays went to FERC Sports Bar and Grill to connect with fans. And 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Miranda Parnell was there as new ownership says their focus is on community.
It is always a party here at FERC's, but especially when you're trying to woo the new Rays ownership group to stay right here in St. Pete. And the new CEO, Ken Babby, was here tonight trying to connect with the community and even buying everybody at the bar a drink.
Please stay in St. Pete.
The request has been clear.
Keep it here. Woo! Yeah.
And Wednesday night, Rays fans officially welcomed Rays CEO Ken Babby to town as repairs continue on Tropicana Field to prepare the stadium for next baseball season.
And to see 21 panels up on that roof and to know that in 145 days, Major League Baseball will be right back here in St. Petersburg, it's really exciting.
With only 3 panels left to replace on the Trop, Babby says the stadium will be back with all new upgrades.
A brand new roof, expanded video board, new audio system. We're renovating some of the suites. We really want to make the experience terrific for our fans.
And when it comes to whether the Rays will continue to call St. Pete home, Babby didn't give too much away.
We're doing feasibility analysis on a lot of sites throughout the region, and right now we're focused on getting ready for opening day and all the work that comes to getting our team right back here in April.
While the future of the Rays is uncertain, these fans believe the right answer is on this side of the bay.
And St. Pete deserves it. We really do. There's enough going on in Tampa already. Stay in St. Pete.
In St. Pete, Miranda Parnell, 10 Tampa Bay News.
Well, this week, Pasco County leaders approved new standards allowing for people to keep chickens in their backyards. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Annie Crawl talked to council members who are happy this debate has ended after more than a decade.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano. Aye. District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Hallelujah, aye.
And the ayes have it, or the hens do at least. Any home in Pasco County can keep up to 4 chickens in a secure, clean coop as of Wednesday. No roosters allowed and no permit needed, making it even easier to gather your own eggs, which many farmers and county leaders say can be a cheaper option when egg prices skyrocket. As of November 7th, the national average for a dozen caged conventional white eggs is $1.53. That's down about 30% since the end of October, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. But in March of this year, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics said that national average jumped to more than $6 a dozen, spurring some families in Pasco County to raise their own hens. The subject of requiring chicken owners to go through an educational course was contested.
The course is supposed to be...
The permit requirement was removed.
The majority of Pasco County Council members instead voted to suggest, rather than require people take a University of Florida extension course on backyard chickens.
Just in case you have someone who's going rogue or isn't maintaining it, and you got rats and snakes or whatever. So I'm okay with the monitoring part, but just that education part.
Okay.
You can make it available, which I think I should do, but
not a requirement.
That'll be it.
Now ruffling less feathers, Pasco County is at the lower end of the spectrum with a maximum of 4 hens per home. The same number you'll find in Hernando, Hillsborough, and Pinellas counties, along with the city of Bradenton. But if you live in Dade City, you can have up to 6 hens, something Council Chair Catherine Starkey said has been a heated conversation for close to 15 years.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Yes. Thank you so much for all your work on the chickens.
Annie Krall, 10 Tampa Bay News.
Hurricane season is coming to a close, with Florida escaping a direct hit. It is a big relief after we saw back-to-back storms last year. Meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi is breaking down the last time Florida made it out unscathed.
And the good news is, take a look at this. National Hurricane Center saying no development expected over the next 7 days. And honestly, when we look long range at our long range models, it doesn't look like anything is going to have the chance to develop. We've had a lot of cold fronts come through the area. We have this strong blocking ridge of high pressure and control for at least the next 7 to maybe 10 days. And that is going to limit anything from developing, especially limit anything from impacting the state of Florida. So it's safe to say that hurricane season is over for us here in the Sunshine State, and we got by untouched this season. And that is the first time since 2015 that Florida has not been directly impacted by a hurricane. Before that, we did have quite a hurricane drought, if you will. Between 2005 and 2015, Florida also wasn't directly impacted by a hurricane after, of course, Hurricane Wilma in 2005. And then in 2016, Hurricane Hermine brought that to an end. For this year, 13 named storms, 5 hurricanes, and of 5 of those, we had 4 major hurricanes, but again, none impacting the state of Florida for the first time since 2015.
On Monday, several groups around the Bay Area held ceremonies to honor our veterans, and that includes events at the Military Court of Honor in Largo, Central Park, Curlew Hills, Memorial Gardens in Palm Harbor, and a Veterans Memorial Park in Tampa. Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins honored veterans and active duty military at Tampa General Hospital. And while cities across the country are honoring the men and women who've served, a new national study suggests Tampa is doing more than most to make life better for veterans year-round. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Eric Glasser shows us why the Bay Area ranks among the best places in the nation for veterans to live.
Well, when it comes to life after military service, a new report from the financial site Wallet Hub ranks the Tampa Bay area as the second best in the nation for veterans. And people we spoke with on this Veterans Day agree. Researchers compared the 100 largest U.S. cities across 19 different categories. Everything from jobs and income growth to housing affordability, healthcare, and community support. Tampa scored especially high when it comes to veteran services and healthcare access. The region also ranked 6th for the number of VA benefits offices and 11th for available hospital beds. Tampa, they found, also offers a lot of community appreciation, with one of the nation's highest number of restaurants and entertainment spots that offer military discounts.
There's so many of us here. You know, makes it a great spot. The service is great. The location is great.
We try to get out to the community to try to build a relationship with community partners to make sure that we're providing our veterans with as much help as we can.
Austin, Texas took the top spot overall, but analysts say Tampa's mix of opportunity, healthcare access, and community support make it one of the most welcoming places in the country for those who have served. Qualities not just on Veterans Day, but all year long that make Tampa Bay a standout. At Bay Pines, Eric Glasser, 10 Tampa Bay News.
And we want to thank you for watching This Week in Review. Be sure to keep it right here on 10 Tampa Bay Plus for the latest information that impacts your life.